Yeah, I'm off the top of this little mountain, little MUMU, this little one tree hill, I suppose, of Wellington, under this Pinus radiata. Next to me is like a forest, a rejuvenated native bush. A couple of runners are going to come past shortly. You can see their shadows being cast against the side of the mountain here. I can hear the tui. I can hear the ocean. See this beautiful pool of seaweed just drifting back and forth in these waves that are coming past. I thought I would come back to this place where I actually broke my arm. It's funny. Well, broke my arm, broke my wrist. This morning I woke up quite early actually, it was like 5 o'clock. And the sun was shining, I imagine, on the side of the hill. And so I thought I'd better come witness the taiao rising in the east. And it's weird, now that I'm here, I'm like, geez, I'm pretty lucky. So this time of year kind of always reminds me of whānau and family and letting go of ideas, I suppose, that I've had trapped and conditioned in me for such a long time around what it means to be in a family. And you know, last night, when I look at what happened to me last night, which is where I dropped off this set of tent poles that I've had in my car for like maybe 5 months, since I went to Ihu Mātau up in Auckland with my friend Nico and Milo and Juju and Azivia, and we went up there, and then I just reflected on that whole moment of, you know, we have these challenges we have to face. Although we don't want to challenge them or face them most of the time. And in some ways that's kind of part of the makeup of New Zealand, or the culture of New Zealand, which in effect is related to this tall poppy syndrome buzz that we sit within, which is like if anybody tries to make a stand or change something, stand up or create, then within us or without us there's a conditioning that's being passed on and on and on and on, which in some ways must end. It's going to have to end eventually, that conditioning aspect of our culture. I don't know if it helps us be a better human. Yeah. So that's part of that. Anyway. I kind of got to the top of this hill and I kind of didn't know what to say, so let's just talk about flow, I suppose, now that the river's flowed into the sea here. And the seagulls are talking to me as they kind of bask in the morning sun. think I woke the birds up. There's a little baby tui up here on this pine tree, eating some nectar, or whatever it's eating, pollen. Yeah, so part of the challenge is like, for me, is actually recognizing that when I fell down and broke this arm twice in one day, that either I was overdoing it or that I was underdoing aspects of my everyday life that needed to slow down. So you have to witness these points in your life within the flow of every day, the function of the flow, or the detachment from the flow. Now, I'll probably get back to this detachment from the flow. So that attachment to the flow and being attached to having flow has probably caused me to have no flow. But then I witness it without the state of knowing. And now I know what I'm doing next year a lot more than I did, say, 3 months ago. You know, and as rocks, we kind of get broken down to these little pieces of sand eventually. And I suppose the rock in our life is ourself. You know, and we're connected to all these other rocks that lie on the beach and get caressed by the waves. And then we turn into more rocks, baby little rocks, little pieces of sand, and then we're even more connected. Then some of us get collected and turned into glass. That we get drunk from. Or we can get broken again and turn back into sand. And you know, my spirit's in this body, this physical body, for as long as it needs to be. And part of me is like, knows that when I'm meant to go, I'm ready for it. I have quite a sort of sense of peace around that, awareness around the dance between life and death, you know, this kind of intimacy with the knowledge that eventually I'll move from this state to the next state. And that for me, they have to like love this body and love this ego, and in some way love the conditioning that I've been given. but in the process of loving it, letting go of the things that the conditioning I don't need anymore. So this is the challenge for me. And also, like, maybe use some of the ego again to be inspired for that change. And I think this is another aspect of it. Is that I wrote this like whole journal to myself of 2 or 3 pages about how I wanted to get back into my physical body. You know, I wanted to get into this physical body and you know, and I didn't write down I wanted to get back into my holistic body, or I didn't write down that I needed to balance all aspects of my being. No, I said I wanted to get back into my physical body. And I suppose, you know, and you think about that, and it's been like, went through the start of full moon cycle, went through the full moon cycle. I ended up getting this cast on the full moon. That's some pretty interesting flow. Now I look at it. And it's actually, I felt this whole, since I've got this cast down, my life's actually slowed down significantly enough for me to go, I was in my masculine a lot. I was in my action a lot. And I hadn't slowed myself down enough to sit within my feminine and to communicate my truth and to observe and witness the people in my life and the birds and the beings that exist on the plane that I recognize and perceive and I'm aware of. So I was going to get very irritated about this whole thing of my arm, but now I'm feeling like I'm just going to tell stories about how I got injured, you know? So rather than the story of that I fell on the stairs over here on my right, I'm going to tell the story of how, you know, I was swimming with dolphins. And there's a good 100 of these dolphins in this huge pod. And they were leaping out of the water around me. I had this moment of like, perhaps I was a dolphin in another life. And then as I kind of listened into that and tuned into that dream, this dolphin came past and like knocked into my arm by accident, you know. So yeah. Once upon a time, in a small island in the ocean of Kiwa, there lived a little panda. This panda's name was Iron Lung Panda. This panda would sit on the beach every morning and watch Te Rā, the sun, rise from the east. And he'd meditate. And listen to his heartbeat. And listen to the breath. And he'd feel the wind. He'd smell the sea. And I'd hear the voices of the birds, of the manu, and the ngahere. He held space for the masculine and the feminine. Then you take deep breaths in and out. Yeah, sometimes hear a cry. Yeah. Yeah, so the strength, yeah, can continue. The story and the flow will continue, and the karma of your life, which you can change because it's within your mind. But as this universe is made, in such a strange way, that this life exists here, and the red protocol of blossoms on the side of a rocky cliff. Yeah, and nature, from nature, continuous. Mother Earth continuously giving and giving, and receiving as well. So yeah, I witnessed the pain of humanity, but I also witnessed the love of humanity. I witnessed the fear of humanity, and I witnessed the love of humanity, and I witnessed the waters, whether they existed here on the earth or they came from outer space. I witnessed it as an intelligent being. That, and the way it connects with and makes love to the body of the Earth Mother. With the help of the sun and with the help of the energy of the fathers and the winds. That everything has to work within whatever the universe gives us. Nothing is outside of nature. Even things that we have created as humans are not outside of nature. They all hold the energy of the original forms and vibrations. So yeah. Big love to my sister and all the ancestors who have left this plane of reality. And I'll see you soon. And I see you now. And I feel you with me always. When I call upon that love that I've witnessed in all the beings that have passed other side. That love's still intact. Hasn't been lost. It's never lost. Yeah. Send love to the seagull. Myself. Thank you for holding space for me. And I'm going to play this Pustarino one more time. And then I'm going to go home and have a cup of tea and get back into my masculine. Kia ora. Thank you. Matewa. See you on the other side of the Northern Hemisphere New Year. And mid-year in the Maori calendar. Coming into making it shit done. It's summer. Get out there and make it happen. Peace and love. MUMU, aka Iron Lung, aka Big Willie Styles, aka William, Wiramu, Dave. Oh shit, life's good. Now, the key is not falling down. Whoa! The key is not falling down. Holy shit. Fuck, that was close.